Everyone's racing to build their business. Everyone's racing to build one big AI agent to build their business. And I think that's why everyone keeps breaking. I couldn't afford to build a marketing team, so I built the opposite. I built a bunch of small, boring loops, but they run my marketing every morning while I sleep. And I have perfect peace of mind through the entire operation because I have the guardrails and the systems in place that'll keep it working without me having to worry about it or knowing that it won't ship badly or it can roll it back. So what even is an AI CMO and what does it do every day? So an AI CMO or chief marketing officer isn't just going to be a chatbot and it isn't just a dashboard. It's going to be the thing or object or half person bot that's going to walk your daily marketing arounds for you every morning and hand you a few real decisions to give you to decide on. So it gives it back to a human. It could be your actual CMO or your marketing manager. It doesn't matter. Its job is pull the data, pull the information, give it to them in an easy, digestible manner so they can make decisions smartly without wasting time. So they can iterate quickly. The thing that most people miss when they're building up their marketing departments or thinking about what we have to do is a good CMO is just going to do the same thing every single morning. It's going to check the rankings, watch the ad spend, see if the leads are coming in, see if the leads have gone cold, see if your traffic's dropped. Have we posted on socials? Have we written the blog? Have we sent out the newsletter? Have we done some outreach to other partners? Do we have an affiliate system set up? These tasks are generally the same across businesses. What happens inside of those tasks is what changes, and the messaging that changes from business to business. So a good system understands the actions that any CMO will have to take and still leave room to allow an individual CMO or agency to input their best practices so that way the software works perfectly for them and doesn't require a lot of oversight or worrying about, is this going to work? So my version is just this. It walks these around every day, it reports, it monitors, and then it's going to notify me. Notifies me in Discord, notifies me on a website, notify me in Claude for all I care. It can call me. I have access to it no matter what. And so should you build one big AI agent or just a bunch of small loops? And this is the big one that I don't think most people understand, is that most AI agents are just small ones running in loops. They try and jam pack a lot of different tasks inside of one loop, but at the end of the day, an agent is just a looping structure that'll try and solve a task for you. My answer is always going to be build a bunch of small loops, not one big brain. And it's because small and boring will always be clever and opaque when you actually have to run the things for a client. When you have to prove it did X, it did Y, here's how we roll it back, and here's why we performed these actions or why my agent decided to perform these actions on your website. So each of these loops is just going to be a small program with one job. It's going to look at a single slice, whether it's traffic, search, ads, leads, blogs, tools, transcripts, and it's going to basically write down what it found, and then that's really the main loop for it. So once all the small loops collect their information, you have a bigger loop that reviews all the information, takes all the context of what you've been working on, puts it together, and creates a nice plan for you and recommendations of what you should do next. Sometimes you'll filter those down to smaller sub-agents who then will be able to help you with your goals and tasks and understand what they are supposed to do. So you always want to break down whether it's loops or agents into smaller tasks and subtasks that I can understand. You don't have to be super specific anymore. You just need to provide goals and inputs. So you have to say, I will give you X, Y, and Z. Here is a file, a brand guide, and my tone of voice. Please create a monthly loop of blog topics based on these that I can fill out or answer questions with that we can turn into blogs later on. A few different small tasks in there for you to follow. What is this sense, decide, act loop, and what keeps the steps separate? So every loop that I'm going to build is going to be the same. Sense, decide, and act. Sometimes search or research too, before it's ever allowed to act. Acting is the last. Acting, if it acts or writes code before completes the first 3 steps, that is a fail. Null it, restart the session, can't be having that. It has followed the first rule, which is sense and no. So sensing is going to read the entire world. It's not going to change anything. It's just cheap and safe. So I run these because it brings the smart context that you want in every single time, and you know it's smart, you know it gives you the context that your agent is looking for, and properly. If you ask it to pull Google Analytics every day, it could pull a 7-day, it could pull a 24-day, it could pull maybe half of it, and you don't know unless you have a way to verify that it pulled correctly. When I write a Python script to have that data pulled, I know it's verified every single time because the agent doesn't do anything, doesn't think about it. It's just, here's the script, pull it, here's the data. And so I know then the agent can read the data and it is what I'm hoping it's looking for. I know it's correct, so I know the recommendations are correct based on that. So since, decide, act, that's what every loop wants. So the dangerous verbs are always going to be publish, send, spend, and those are always going to live last. Where, after it's sensed, decided, then it can act, and that's where those ones live, right? So you want to, when it has acts, to have fail or passes too when it acts. Say, okay, you're going to do this. If you can't do this, then roll it back. If it doesn't fail, if it doesn't show up on the site, if it doesn't pass the visual QA, roll it back. That's a fail. It's a atomic action that you can roll back every single time, and it's in stages so the agent knows where it has gone wrong. And so when you iterate or build on top of that, you can constantly track its progress. Gives you a much safer system. You can now say, okay, we didn't make it past that last gate. We can go fix that. We can make it a little bit better. We can improve the script or improve the prompt maybe. So that way when it acts correctly and doesn't mess up. So what are my 5 stages of my daily run right now? Collect, detect, loops, render, execute, and all 4 of those, except for execute again, are read only. So the system is always safe by construction. So let me walk through them. Collect, it's gonna read every channel. TikTok, LinkedIn, blogs, Google Analytics, Google Search Console, Facebook, ad accounts, my website, my transcripts for all I care, for everything. Number of calls, right? Read only, writes down. It's then going to write out the one signal files. It's gonna label each channel as running, stalled, or off. And then it's going to activate each of its specialist loops, which will spit out the action items, render it, and then that turns them into actionable tasks that I can improve or deny for then the agents to take back over. So what is the big difference between this and scheduled timers and marketing loops? And the whole thing is they're very similar. They are very close. And if you look at it, they are, I'd say that more or less the same. The difference is that there are 2 stages or 2 layers to it. So the first layer is the timers, and I've got about 11 of them. So these are the ones that are just gonna fire on the cadence to start running the scripts. I don't need an agent to activate a data point script. This is the cron jobs or timers that you put into place. So each one is gonna fire a cadence. So we've got the orchestrator, executor, the sign-up watch, the product health. Then we have our publishers, the lead audit, the email triage, dashboard, caches. Some of them might run 15 minutes, some of them might run once a day. One of them might be off, like my short video maker. And then the second layer is the marketing loops. And so these are all the ones that run together in the one single pass that's fired by those timers. And so like when I say 13 loops and 11 timers, those aren't 2 separate systems. It's 13 jobs of 11 timers. It's 13 jobs of marketing logic and then 11 clocks deciding when the work happens. And one more thing, I have this running on 2 machines. And so that way, if my cloud server runs a loop and it goes off or one of my other computers fails, it can keep going with its job. So that way, neither machine can be a point of failure for the other to run. Anything that must run is run, backed up, and they can live separately. So how do I actually approve what I do? So I work in my operator console, and underneath that console, it's just a bunch of plain files in Git, and it's just a small database where it just says, hey, this is what you can do. Do you want to approve this? Do you want to deny it? And do you want an agent to take over for you? That is how I run it. I go in every day and I hit approve, or I hit reject, deny, and I give a reason why, so it can always make better decisions later on. And so is my system fully autonomous? No, it is not yet. A lot of the systems do run free, but I still always have that approval logic in there so that way I can trust my own system. I have been working to get it further and further on the autonomous actions to have that safety, auditability, transparency for when it runs, but it's a process that takes a while. Anyone who is telling you, oh, we can spin you up and have a fully autonomous marketing agency fails to realize all the steps you have to take to actually run a marketing campaign. You have to generate creative, you have to generate the landing pages. These all have sub-steps that must be executed with proper QA, proper contracts, let's say, to have them work properly in your systems. And if you don't spell that out from the beginning, you won't have the guardrails to know when it didn't do it correctly, and that's really important. So if you're just going to take one thing from all of this, don't ask whether or not your automations run. You need to ask what it produced. And so the best way to try this is pick one chore that you do every single day and make it a loop. Give it a reason to exist, clear output, a receipt anyone can inspect. It's literally what this whole system is scaled down to see is just one massive receipt system. And just so you know how this got made, was this video is a source of me talking collectively into my tenant over weeks so it could gather ideas to form how I work so I can make this video, which then I approve the script, it'll then turn into a blog later on once it's got the transcript again. But anyways, like and follow for more.